Hey, people of God, this is Rashana B back with On My Way Up movement, and I'm back with an awesome word. So, this is a real specific word to some of you. Some of you are struggling with unemployment, joblessness as we speak, and you are completely confused, befuddled by this. I mean, you've never been in this place in your life where you cannot secure a job, you cannot find a job, you're very qualified, you're very educated, you have a lot of experience or expertise in the career that you're seeking a job in. Clearly your resume is on point, your references speak highly of you, and you cannot secure a job. And this is something that has been going on for a while. You tweaked your resume, you went to job fairs, you even have applied for jobs that clearly you are overqualified for, and you cannot find a job. I'm talking to you. And yet and still, you are still managing to pay your bills. Somehow, some way, God is providing for you. You are able to pay your car note, your mortgage, your rent, your light bill. Your kids are still taken care of. You're still having food in the refrigerator. I mean, you're not needing for anything. All your needs are provided for. Some of you have been unemployed without unemployment, and still your needs have been provided for. Somehow, some way, God comes through for you right on time. But you're confused and you don't know why this is happening. Let me submit this to you, that this is all orchestrated by the hand of God. God removed you out of the workplace. He jerked you out of the workplace. He's taken you up out of the matrix. Okay, he's removed you from just the typical everyday life of us in a rat race. God has something better for you, and he's trying to teach you how to trust in his provision. When the Israelites were in the wilderness, day by day, their needs were met. They never, hardly ever, except maybe a couple of times throughout their, throughout Exodus, where they received an overflow of meat or an overflow of manna, but always God gave them what they needed for that specific day. And what God was doing was trying to teach them how to trust in him completely. A lot of us who are used to working, we have put faith in employers and supervisors. We have forgot, we will say God is my provider, and God, is my Jehovah Jireh, and God is the supplier of my needs. But yet and still, you found now, since you no longer have an employer or supervisor, that really your faith was in your employer and your supervisor. And I'm guilty of this. Okay, and so what God is revealing to you is that even with that job, he was your supplier. You got the job because it was the will of God. You're making it right now. Your needs are being supplied because of God. And he is trying to get you to trust in him on a day-to-day basis. He's giving you enough manna and enough meat for one day. This is why you have to implement the scripture, let tomorrow worry about itself. When you're in this kind of position, all you can do, your best bet, your best move is to focus on today. If a bill was due today, trust that God is going to provide for today. You got bills due next week, let next week worry about itself. God has been proving to you that he got you. Just like that bill last week was paid on time, this next bill that's due next week will be paid on time. But you are to take one day at a time. You have the time now to build up your spirit man, your spirit woman, because that's what this is about. This is about God giving you the time to work on your spirit man, your spirit woman. This is the time that God is strengthening you and equipping you into your calling. Some of you will never go back to the workplace. Some of you will never have another employer or supervisor. Some of you will go back into ministry or go into ministry. Some of you will go into entrepreneurship. Some of you will be business owners. Some of you will never go back to the workplace. God has jerked you out of the rat race. And I know that this is a time of a lot of confusion, a lot of worry, and a lot of stress. And that's the worst thing that you can do. When God was providing for the Israelites, their faith never grew more and more for God. Instead, all they did was continue to test God, test God, test God. The more that he provided, the more that he led them through day-to-day struggles and needs, provided their needs from day to day, the more they questioned him and they lacked the faith. They stayed in the wilderness longer than they had to. They suffered more than it was meant for them to suffer. They suffered snake bites. They suffered illnesses, sicknesses. They suffered in ways that it was not the will of God. You worrying and stressing. I know people who have went through this and actually stressed themselves into a stroke, stressed themselves onto the table of a surgeon with their heart wide open. Okay, stress themselves into a heart attack, stress themselves into sickness. Okay, suffering things that it was not meant for them. This time in their life was not meant for them to suffer. It was never meant for them to suffer the things that they're suffering now, but they are unable to let go and trust God. You who have been jerked out of the workplace, you have a calling. You have a high calling. You have a spiritual calling. And I know that it does not seem like a privilege and an honor to be jerked out of the workplace and living hand to mouth, day by day, wondering when this is going to come, when is that going to come? But actually and truly, it is. God is ushering you into your purpose, into his plans. He has better for you. Let tomorrow worry about itself. God is going to provide your needs like he has been providing your needs. You may not be able to get your nails done. You may not be able to go get your lashes or your hair done. You probably don't even need it. This is the time to let your edges grow back. Let your lashes grow back. Let your nail beds rest. Okay? You ain't going nowhere. Okay? You in the house. You're filling out resumes and applications. And see, this is where you need to pray that God shows you what you should be doing at this time. Maybe some of you should continue to look for a job. But if that is not the will of God, that means that you're spinning your wheels, you're wasting your time, and you're missing the whole point of the season. This is where you buckle down in the spirit. That you have the time now. You have the time now to go into prayer, to go into the secret place and stay there and wait upon the Lord. During the daytime, your kids are at school. You're just in the house. You're just looking at the bills. You're just looking at resumes. You're just looking online. You're searching all kind of job sites. Which, there's nothing wrong with that. But this is the time for you to get alone with God and ask him, what is it that he's trying to tell you? What is it that he wants you to do? If some of you are going back to the workplace, ask him, where does he want you to go? What if he's realigning you to a whole new career? Okay, what if he wants you to go in another direction? What if he wants you to go back to school? What if he wants you to start that business? What if he wants you to go into ministry? What if he wants you to take that opportunity that you rejected because of your job, but you knew in your heart that you should have? But to you, it didn't make sense to take it because it didn't fit in with your work schedule. Well, you no longer have a work schedule now. And now you're thinking about that opportunity. Yes, it's time. And I know it's hard. Look at what all the Israelites went through, you guys. Look how hard some of them did not even make it out of it alive. They lacked the faith. They doubted. They worried. They stressed themselves unto death, literally. God provided them a cloud in the daytime and a pillar of fire at night. God provided food for them, manna from heaven. Saw to it that whale was washed up on the seashore for them. Quail was washed up on the seashore for them, where they were able to get fat and full off meat at a time when they had no means. All they had was God and his provision. That's where you're at. You are in the wilderness. It is up to you how long you stay in the wilderness. Seek God. You have the time. This is why God has allowed you to be put in this position. You're looking at it like a loss, and yet you have not lost a thing. You have not lost a thing. God is speaking to you. He has called you out. He has separated you unto himself because he has a special work for you. He is trying to realign you, redirect you, whether it's into another field, another career, or just into ministry, into your calling. Ask yourself this. Do you really want to be one of those people who have worked all of their lives? And this is no shade for those who have worked all their lives. Have worked all their lives, are now retired, older in age, maybe suffering some age-old diseases. And they're looking at their life and wondering, what was my purpose? What should I have been doing? Why didn't I do what I know I was called to do 20 years ago? Now, they're in lack. They're dependent solely on Social Security. Some of them are going back to work because prices have skyrocketed. You guys, I met a lady, 75 years old, filling out a resume a few months ago. My heart broke for her. 75 years old, filling out a resume. If 30, 40 years ago, she had found her purpose and operated in her purpose, do you think that at 75 years old, an age, that she should be content, secure, at peace? She would be looking for a resume instead, alongside 20-year-olds trying to look for work, going to job fairs at 75 trying to look for work. Now, some people, because somebody got to do it, some people are meant to work, are meant to work a job. Not everybody, calling or purpose is outside of the 9 to 5, the career, the job field. That's not for everybody. But I'm talking about those who, do you want to just wonder about it when it's too late? When you're too old and don't have the strength nor the energy or the help to do what God called you to do? Do you want to even have to wonder about it, question if you have missed your purpose? Or if you have some kind of way all these years wasted your time at the workplace, on a job site, in a career. You really want to wonder about that? This is the time for you to ask those questions. God, am I meant to do this? Some of you already know you are not meant to be in the workplace. Some of you are unhappy with getting up at the same time every morning, going to a workplace, doing the same thing every day, all day, making somebody else rich, somebody else prosperous, coming home exhausted, tired. They choose when they want to give you a raise. Okay, the raise is going to be 50 cents, $1. Okay, whether they want to promote you. Some people have been on jobs 20, 25, 30 years, never received a promotion. People are coming in younger than them and bypassing them and clearly don't have the expertise. Do you want to go through that? Do you want to work all your life and end up with just a Social Security check and at 75 happen to come out of retirement and go back to work because the economy is upside down? Do you really want that? Some of you, God he doesn't want that for you. He got something way better for you. And you're going through the hard part right now. I get it. It's painful. It's uncomfortable. I have a vision of just trying to squeeze through, the cap of a bottle, the neck of a bottle, trying to squeeze through the neck of a bottle. How uncomfortable that is. You just want to get up and just run. You just want to go to sleep and just wake up and just wish that, hey, this didn't happen because you were so used to working in the workplace. It's painful. It's uncomfortable. But a lot of the times when God is transforming you, in fact, every time God is transforming you and leading you into a more beautiful place, it is going to start off as uncomfortable. Why do you think that the Israelites complained about going back to Egypt when they were out there in the wilderness? At least when they were in the wilderness, they had a job. They knew what time they got off. They knew they had to labor. They knew that this is what they were supposed to be doing. You know, they knew that this was time I get off. This what time I wake up. At least they feed me good. I mean cucumbers, I mean leeks, I mean meat, I mean all that I want, I could possibly want as far as the food goes. You know, I know what to expect. It was the unexpected of walking from day to day, not knowing exactly where they're going, how they're going to eat, how they're going to drink, how they're going to be clothed, that ate them up. I understand, believe me, the unexpected, the uncertainty. But I think you should know by now that the workplace can be just as uncertain, because now you're without a job and you didn't see that coming. There's uncertainty in the workplace. You don't know when they're going to let you go, when they're going to lay you off, when they're going to do layoffs, if they're going to promote you, if they promote you, how much they're going to give you, if they decide to move you to a whole nother field, a whole nother place, a whole nother area, a whole nother station. You don't really know. But what you find comfort in is that you know, okay, I know for sure at the end of the week or at the end of these 2 weeks, I'm going to get a check. And that's what you found comfort in. That's what you have found as your security and your stability. And God is trying to show you that is not your security. That is not your stability. He is your source. You should know by now, if all your bills are paid, you haven't lost one thing, that God is your source. God is your employer. God is your supervisor. And let me go ahead and break the news to you. You will not get another job until God says you will get another job. So you can go and tweak that resume, go to all them job fairs and all them job sites and do all that you think you can, and it'll be in vain, because it is not until God says that you can work or go back into the workplace or have a job that you will have one. So I want you to use this time wisely. Don't be like the Israelites and use this time to mumble and grumble, because you will find yourself sick, suffering things that you were not meant to suffer at a time when you should be in a place of rest and prayer and secret place and seeking God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, because you have the time now. You have the energy now. Some of you have neglected your families because you've been working so much. Now's the time for you to reestablish that connection with your family, with your children. Now's the time for you to reestablish that connection with your husband. Wives, you hadn't been able to cook, a good meal for your husband in a while because you've been working. Now you can do those things. Now is a time where you can also not only nurture your relationship with God, but nurture your relationship with your spouse and your children, your family. Those things are most important. But the key thing that you need to understand is that you are in a place of testing, and you will not pass until you do what you're supposed to do. Your job now is to find out what it is that God wants you to do, what it is He wants you to see, what it is He wants you to hear, and what it is that He wants you to know. So people of God, stay blessed. Stay blessed. Let tomorrow worry about itself. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Tell me what you like about my content, and I'll be back with another word.